Derby Day. Derby Day is a great day. I loved the Derbies, or Derby, as however you'd like to say it. I had a great horse called Advantage Chrysler that was, he had a very strong character, but he was a great Derby horse. And so it was always an exciting day for me. You have, it really is the pentathlon of our show jumping world. And in 1994, I was a little bit ahead of the curve, and I wore a helmet cam on my head for the whole round. And I think they might have a little bit of a clip for you to watch. It's pretty interesting, and it kind of gives me goosebumps to watch it. Enjoy.
It takes a special horse to get the job done, and this may be one of the great Derby horses of the present day. Looking at him come into the ring right now from Spruce Meadows. This is Advantage Chrysler with Linda Southern-Heathcott. You can see they're decked out a little bit differently than our normal entries in competition. Linda is wearing a helmet cam to provide a rider's perspective of this incredible track here at Spruce Meadows. They jumped a clear round last year. Let's see the hometown favorite entering the ring, Linda Southern-Heathcott on Advantage Chrysler here in the Chrysler Classic. It has the makings, perhaps, of a Disney story.
Perhaps.
There is, however, 1 kilometer, 22 elements, and a lot of tough sledding ahead for this combination. And she's added a little bit of a curve to the scenario today. The helmet cam, we'll be anxious to see what those shots look like in the future. See if technology has come such a way that we can give us people in the booth and in the stands a perspective of what the riders are going through, Nance.
Advantage Chrysler and Linda Southern-Heathcott.
Hear the crowd cheering her on as she approaches the first fence.
I have to tell you, I'm holding my breath. I'm sorry, Ian. Hometown favorite. It would be great if she could put a clear round in.
Not only the hometown favorite, but the kid's sister. So there's a little bit at stake here for Linda Southern-Heathcott and her older sister, Nancy Southern, as we look on, hoping to see if another clear round can be
You didn't have
registered.
to put the older in there.
Her more experienced sister.
Linda's got a fairly deliberate pace going here with Advantage Chrysler, and she's clear so far. This horse, she wants to make sure, is always contained and just on the edge of believing that he is doing the steering and commanding on course. She has to be very subtle about what she tells this horse to do.
This horse has been a great project, arriving in Canada as a 4-year-old, working its way up through the divisions as they do in international show jumping, not without its problems. But they have solved all of those over the years, much like any team has to do in coming together and gelling, and let's see if they're right for the job today.
Ooh, very close to the water there.
Electing to jump the white rails. No, it seems like she changed
her mind midstream, and it looks like she's clear over the water. She's got no faults going up to the bank.
Would that be a tactic, Nancy, to get the horse thinking that things aren't so predictable, that Linda is in fact in charge? They were being on for that white vertical, and then she just veered him off to the wall.
Quite possibly. Ooh, just kind of hopped over the jump at the top, clearing the jump at the bottom. Now the Devil's Dyke. Come on, Linda. And Advantage Chrysler. It is an advantage to drive a Chrysler. Oh, and she does it. We've got 4 jumps left.
I'll tell you, if this Hanoverian gelding with Linda Southern-Heathcott leaves all the rails in the cups, this place will go nuts. 38,000 people on course today watching the Chrysler Classic, and they're watching Advantage Chrysler with 3 rails left. Are you okay, Nance?
Hanging in there. Come on! Oh, and the fence comes down at 15A. Sit up and ride this. Get into the jump off. Advantage Chrysler and Linda Southern-Heathcott.
Well, look at Spruce Meadows co-chairman Ron and Marge Southern. Canadian equestrian teammate John Anderson looks on. He may be taking on Linda in the jump off. Wow.
He breathed a sigh of relief, you know. He thought, oh man, she's going to win this and I'm not going to get to jump off. But it looks like at this point in time, we have a jump off for the Chrysler Classic with the four fault performers.
Has arrived on the stage of international show jumping. Good Sunday morning from the International Ring at Spruce Meadows for the final day of the 2020 Spruce Meadows North American at-home version. And what a day we have for you on this, the final day of the virtual summer series, as Sunday at the North American always equates to Derby Day, and the Derby has become a great signature event of Spruce Meadows, dating all the way back to the first courses here designed by the great Pamela Carruthers of Great Britain, and inspired by the All England Jumping Course Derby in Hicksted. Now, when you talk about the Derbies and the wonderful footage that we've been able to see from Linda Heathcott riding Advantage Chrysler around the 1994 Derby course, you really get a perspective of how long and strong and what a fight this really is to travel more than 1 kilometer in length. The horses, it's both an endurance test and a power jumping test, and it's really become a fan favorite. Clear rounds are extremely rare. If you jump every fence, chances are the clock's going to catch you, because you have to maintain a pace of 400 meters per minute around this extremely long course. Our friend Richard Spooner of the United States often boasts that fewer people have jumped clear rounds at Spruce Meadows on Derby Day than have walked on the moon. That said, today we're going to turn back the dial to 1993. Hap Hansen of Encinitas, California, was at the top of his game. He was literally one of the best in the world and always in top form in the international ring. On the final day of the North American, he found himself in an unusual position, a 3-horse jump-off in the Chrysler Classic after an unprecedented 3 clear rounds. It's the ultimate test for horse and rider. And since 1985, it has been the proving ground for North America's premier international show jumpers. The Chrysler Classic, a rite of passage, the final hurdle in the North American Show Jumping Championships. A 2.5-minute test for horse and rider that encompasses over 20 obstacles and more than 1 kilometer of distance. It is the culmination of years of training and preparation to see if you have, as a team, the right stuff. Victory in the Chrysler is sweet. The names engraved on the magnificent Pentastar read like a North American Show Jumping Hall of Fame. They include Big Bird, Big Ben, Lavendel 48, Voila T. Other greats who have tried but have been denied victory in the Derby include the likes of Aramis, Gobi, Mr. T, So Long, Waldus, Hendricks, and Advantage Chrysler. The latter two, both Hanoverian geldings, returned to Spruce Meadows for the 1993 Spruce Meadows North American, focused on results. Both are at the top of their game. Both are elite athletes in the prime of their careers. but some 25 other entries from Canada, Mexico, and the United States, including former champions Laura Balisky and Mark Laskin, are also focused on the Chrysler Pentastar, the demands of the course, and the huge rewards that come with excellence on Derby Day. This masterpiece of course design, created by the legendary Pamela Carruthers, has stood the test of time. As with other courses in other sports, the Chrysler Classic, like Augusta in golf or the Hamankan in skiing, ensures that the cream rises to the top and the champions receive just recognition and reward for an extraordinary day's work. It's the final day of the 1993 Spruce Meadows North American Show Jumping Championships, and it's time for the final exam, the $100,000 Chrysler Classic. North America's best, gunning it out under ideal conditions in the Spruce Meadows International Tournament ring to see who reigns supreme in 1993 in North American show jumping. Hello and welcome to Spruce Meadows in Calgary, Alberta, coming to you from the center of the International Tournament ring where the final event of the 1993 North American Show Jumping Championships is about to get underway. I'm Ian Allison, joined as always by Nancy Southern. A dramatic afternoon ahead.
The $100,000 Chrysler Classic is a derby competition that is unequaled anywhere in the world. We've got top riders coming from Mexico, the United States, Canada, and even from Ireland to contest the Chrysler Classic and try and take home that beautiful Pentastar trophy. And what a course we have lying ahead of them.
It's an incredible competition, steeped with history, and an extraordinary field of riders today.
The North American contingent of riders competing in the Chrysler Classic are led by California's Hap Hansen, a veteran of the sport and a magician with his horses. Hap's soft hands and athletic strength make him a favorite in today's event. Canada's Mark Laskin is the defending champion of the North American. While not in the hunt for the title this year, Mark has a good shot at today's Chrysler. And keep your eye on the young professional from Calgary. Linda Southern-Heathcott appears to have her hometown jitters behind her. A second-place finish in the Queen Elizabeth II Cup will give her confidence going into today's Derby. Jaime Azcarraga of Mexico comes into the Chrysler Classic without his favored Chin-Chin today, and his hopes rest with his young speed horse, Sortia. And rounding out the favorites in the Chrysler, from Ireland, Damian Gardner on his heroic Hendricks. He'll be giving the North Americans a run for their money. And of course, we can't forget the great Derby rider Laura Balisky of Canada on her veteran mount, Lavendel 48. And as the riders are getting ready to walk the course, Ian, how about the horses today?
Well, the horses never get a chance to see the course, Nancy. They're back in the international on-deck circle, readying themselves for this grueling test. An extraordinary field of horses, some young up-and-coming talent, some veterans of the Chrysler Classic. These are the horses I think that you should keep an eye open for today. One of the new superstars in North American show jumping is Hap Hansen's new mount Henzo. This impressive warm-blood gelding from the Hans Horn stable in Holland should be able to look right at home today in this his first Spruce Meadows Derby. In 1991, Mark Laskin won the Chrysler Classic with Teague. Today he'll ride his grey Irish gelding Sullivan in the Chrysler and try and duplicate the form that carried this combination to the North American title in 1992. The natural obstacles should not pose too much difficulty for this gray Irishman. He's nothing short of legendary in the sport, and today the 18-year-old Lavendel 48 will try and add another Chrysler to his impressive resume. Having won the event in 1990, Lavendel 48 and Laura Balisky have been focused on the Chrysler all year. Already impressive at the North American with a clear round in the Queen Elizabeth II Cup, this horse has all the tools and the talents of Hilary Mayfield in the irons to make it a solid favorite. Another favorite is surely the Hanoverian gelding Hendricks. Since teaming up with Ireland's Damian Gardner earlier this year, they have been nothing short of awesome. Watch for them to put in an impressive round today. And also watch for Advantage Chrysler. This 11-year-old Hanoverian is fully capable of putting in an historic clear round over this awesome course if he uses his incredible natural talent to its fullest. Scope is not a problem for Advantage Chrysler. Another horse with extraordinary natural talent is the impressive chestnut gelding Balderdash from the Oaks in San Juan Capistrano. He returns to competition today after a 7-month layoff because of a quarter crack injury in his foot. He's exciting to watch, but may still be a year or two away from challenging in this league. And finally, keep a very close eye on the New Zealand-bred gelding Fairway with Hap Hansen. He has all the scope, speed, talent, and the rider to gallop to victory. If in fact he is in a jump-off today, between the clears, 4s, or even 8-fault horses, Fairway with Hap Hansen would surely be the favorite.
A very demanding test for both horse and rider. It's the nature of the course that makes the Chrysler Classic a classic in show jumping, and earlier today, our resident course designer, Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown, had some insights into today's test.
Water seems to be the order of the day on the morning of this Chrysler Classic. It's raining at present, helping fill up the Liverpool at element 5A. All the fences on course of the Chrysler Classic will cause a problem. They're all very high and very wide. It's a power test, and it's very difficult. As course designer Dave Ballard puts the final touches on the Chrysler Classic, you can see he set up an option fence for jump number 4. You don't usually see an option in a derby, but this is unique. Element number 4, if you stay on the right-hand side, is a direct line from number 3. If you stay on the left-hand side, you can save a little time going to element number 5. It's actually a rider decision as to which side they're going to jump because both are exactly the same height.
Thanks very much, Pollyanna. A grueling course, 24 obstacles, 1 kilometer in length, and the horses have to be galloping at 400 meters per minute. We'll be back with more of the Chrysler Classic action right after this.
Paying attention to the smallest detail. Getting to the destination the most efficient way possible. Ensuring all individual elements are working together to drive high performance. And making sure you do it consistently. Being the best comes down to perfect execution. That's not just good show jumping. That's good railroading. We love a sport that rewards precision.
A look at the international ring here at Spruce Meadows with one of the most demanding tests in the sport of show jumping, the $100,000 Chrysler Classic. We have ideal conditions for our international entry and a look back into the international hitching ring area, the on-deck circle as it were here at Spruce Meadows, to a very nervous young rider from Mexico City. First into the ring today, Nancy, Jennifer Teague.
Well, Jennifer has never ridden the Derby track before. And you can imagine the nerves that are rushing through her.
Very disconcerting for a young athlete coming through this clock tower for the first time. What lies ahead is the ultimate test of horse and rider, and she's chosen her 12-year-old Belgium saddlebred, Dali Moss, to try and get the chore done today. A look at our young rider from Mexico City, Jennifer Teague, as they prepare to undertake the Chrysler Classic, an event steeped with history, as with all the great derbies in the world, Nancy. This young girl is coming in to be the pathfinder over this course.
Well, you can imagine the nerves nerves and the butterflies that are going through Jennifer's stomach right now. She's never ridden the Chrysler Classic course before. She's the first rider on course today. She has no idea how it will feel when you hit the wall like a runner after jump number 13, the Devil's Dyke.
It's interesting that in this competition, because of its long and galloping nature, that often the entries are in a clear manner or a clear way by the time they get to that 26-foot bank. And after that, the wheels can certainly fall off. As we look out to the center of the international ring, where our executives from Chrysler Canada are in attendance today to take the Cavaliers salute from this international entry, Mr. Robert Frank, the Vice President of Marketing, will be receiving the salute from our athletes from Canada, Mexico, the United States, and Ireland. It's a 1,000-meter track. The time allowed is 150 seconds. The eldest brother of the two derbies held here at Spruce Meadows during a tournament year. This is the Chrysler Classic, and this is Jennifer Teague with our first entry.
1,000 meters in this first portion of the Chrysler Classic Derby.
Second fence on the course here is a very wide parallel oxer. And Jennifer has a good roll and a good pace going. Jumps 1, 2, and 3 are clear. Here's the fence that Pollyanna showed us, and it's a fence that comes down often. And now the Liverpool combination. 1 stride over the Liverpool, 2 strides to a tall vertical.
Clear rounds are in fact a rarity in this competition, so don't expect to see them coming fast and furious today. Anything under 16 faults is a very nice trip around this course. 4 faults assessed for every obstacle lowered, or in the event that you have a foot in the large water jump at fence number 9 or obstacle number 9.
Well, Jennifer has a very good round going. However, I would suggest that with this very cautious approach she's taking on the first half of the course, she's going to be using up a lot of energy, a lot of time, and I will think this horse will start to pull and really ask Jennifer to release him up as he gallops on the rest of the course. Foot in the water, very difficult fence to jump.
It's an open water jump with no brush box in front of it, perceived by a horse as just a black hole, 14 feet. The demand on the horse to clear the water jump as Jennifer Teague approaches about the midway point of the Chrysler Classic as she heads on up the bank.
And you can see here now that the horse is starting to pull with Jennifer. And here's the bank. Slow down and skid down this big bank. She took about 4 little tiny steps in there to get over the vertical, and now here's the Devil's Dyke. She's going to need a lot more pace to get through here.
You hit that one right on the head, Nancy.
Well, a horse just will not go into the Devil's Dyke unless it has more gallop and a much more confident ride.
Devil's Dyke is a natural obstacle which asks the horses to jump downhill over a vertical fence, then over water at the bottom and jump uphill out of it. And for a lot of the non-European based horses, they find it awfully difficult their first encounter.
She has to gallop and keep going here. Jennifer is riding backwards at this point in time. She's not giving the horse the confidence. She doesn't have his motor up, pulling her ahead of herself. And that's elimination for Jennifer Teague at the Devil's Dyke.
Dali Mas and Jennifer Teague of Mexico City showing us why the Chrysler Classic is in fact one of the ultimate tests of horse and rider. Making his way into the international ring, Ireland's Damian Gardner aboard the first of 2 mounts. We'll see him on today here in the Chrysler Classic. This is the 10-year-old Dutch-bred gelding Bonheur. Damian Gardner, having been raised in Ireland on a beef and dairy operation, having been raised on the backs of horses, as so many people from the Emerald Isle are, is very much at home with Derby circumstances and now looks to compete in his first Chrysler Classic.
Again, let's welcome Frank, Vice President of Marketing, Chrysler Canada, and salute. Also,
Damian wasted no time getting his horse around this course, picking up the gallop. One of the great talents that Damian has is mustering up some strength, giving his horse encouragement all the way around these courses, and you can see he's really picking up the pace. This is the way a Derby should be ridden.
picking up the pace, trying to relax his horse and also keep this young gelding focused. Here we are with Damian Gardner aboard Bonheur.
You don't want to waste a lot of time around the turns on this track. Oh, and a rail down early at the dry ditch. The ditch is standing out a good 4 feet in front of the rails at that jump number 3. And through the combination fine. So he's carrying 4 faults. You need a powerful horse to jump this next jump. It's a 5-foot square white oxer, very wide. Road jump. Damian wasting no time up there. He took 3 gallop steps. A lot of the horses we'll see will be cautious and take 4 gallop strides across the road jump.
Both horse and rider still appear to be very well relaxed as they approach the water jump.
Forward gallop, and now steady the horse for this big vertical, and he's clear over that. Now look at Damian's making up a lot of time here so that he can be careful coming down the bank.
Carrying 4 faults as he approaches the ascent part of the bank up towards the vertical that is atop this 23-foot vertical drop.
Oh, and Damian made a little mistake there, asking the horse to take another stride. The horse left the ground, but there was the talent for you. Damian getting with his horse and jumping out over the Devil's Dyke.
The knowledgeable Spruce Meadows crowd certainly appreciating that effort from Bonheur.
3 jumps left. And 3 of the most challenging fences on the course, the double Liverpools. Fence down there, and now 5 feet rack of planks. Very easy fence to knock down, and unfortunately, the last 2 fences on the course cost him 8 faults for a total of 12.
As we look up at Jerry Kilgannon, who operates a stable in Encinitas, California, where young Damian Gardner plies his trade. Damian Gardner finishing up the first to complete the course today with 12 jumping faults on this young horse Bonheur.
Damian, as he was going down the hill, was saying, whoa. Now look, he asked the horse to jump. You saw his body go up in the air, but the horse puts in another stride. Most riders would have gotten left behind and had a knockdown there.
And we will be back with more of our coverage of the 1993 Chrysler Classic. And looking to lay claim to his first Chrysler Classic. The legend from Encinitas, California, Hap Hansen with his new Wonder Mount, Henzo.
Hap Hansen making the salute to Mr. Bob Frank, Vice President of Marketing for Chrysler. And what a day.
Hap Hansen just acquiring this new mount from the Hans Horn stable in Holland in the last 6 weeks. Hap Hansen having won nearly $500,000 in his illustrious Spruce Meadows career. Now looking to maybe add 33 grand more into his Spruce Meadows bank account. That's the prize for first place in today's competition. He's aboard Henzo.
This is a relatively new mount for Hap Hansen, but Hap is a veteran of the Derby courses. He's ridden every single Derby since they were instituted here at Spruce Meadows. And the Chrysler Classic is an event he has missed, one of the few that he hasn't ever won. He has 2 mounts today, Henzo and another horse called Fairway. He is one of the leaders for the North American Championship. That's a big jump, that white oxer. Jump number 6. One of the great characteristics of Hap's riding style is his very soft hands. His hands are always following the horse's mouth. He's very gentle with his horses. Good ride to the water. Working to get his horse collected and bouncing up high over jump number 10. The horse just didn't respond quick enough after the water jump.
We've seen it over the years. Those skinny white poles are awfully disconcerting to horses if they pick up too much speed off the water jump.
Ooh, Henzo kind of wanted to go off to the side. Beautifully ridden down the bank, though. Hap Hansen, a pro at riding this course. Henzo making a great effort through the Devil's Dyke.
Four faults as they arrive at what we could term Amen Corner here in the Chrysler Classic. 3 obstacles left, the treacherous Liverpools and the Canada flag vertical.
A little bit of a hesitation as he came around the corner, and Hap had to get the horse forward so that he would negotiate the double Liverpools. And that made him a little too strong for the second element, pulling a rail there, but that is our new leader. 8
Finishing
jumping
up
faults.
with 8 jumping faults, Hap Hansen of Encinitas, California with Henzo.
Watch what Henzo does here. He makes a special effort with his hind legs to clear the Devil's Dyke, hesitates a little bit, and then just snaps his knees up to clear the out element of the Devil's Dyke. Great ride and a great performance by the young horse Henzo.
1785. This is Jaime Azcarraga on Sosuke.
Look at our next entry here in the international ring. The Chrysler Classic on the line today on this, the final day of the North American Championships. Olympic and World Championship veteran Jaime Azcarraga aboard Sortilla. Jaime riding this course with a broken hand.
He was injured just 10 days prior to coming to the North American Championships. Has 2 broken bones in his hand, and he is not with his great stallion Chin Chin. This is a young horse for Jaime, just 7 years of age. Jaime came in, he wanted to ride in the Chrysler Classic so badly. Chin Chin was hurt, a minor injury in an earlier event, so he's taking this young horse, Sortillo, who is a speed horse, just so that he can ride the Chrysler Classic. He's over 4 fences with just jump number 2 down. This horse doesn't seem to be bothered by the jumps. 2 rails, but has a lot of jump and is very bold about the natural obstacles. So we'll see how Jaime does in the latter stages here. Two years ago, Jaime rode in the Chrysler Classic with his most famous horse, Chin Chin, and finished up 11th with 12 jumping faults. So he knows if he keeps going, you have a good shot at a piece of the prize money, even with 12 or 16 faults.
This young horse, Sortillo, starting to get a little bit strung out now. It'll be very important for Jaime to keep this horse under control, collected, and focused on jumping.
Coming down the bank has got to be hard on that hand with the 2 broken bones. Ooh, and Sortillo sliding right down and clear over the vertical, rattling it a bit. Now the Devil's Dyke. Yes, and out, and he leaves them all up.
Just 8 faults for Jaime Azcarraga as he approaches the final components of the Chrysler Classic. Running time should be all right. Our time allowed 150 seconds as he approaches the Liverpool at 125.
And he's clear over the double Liverpools. He's got a very good running time going from on. He knocks down the Canada planks. 12 faults in a time of 1:35. That puts Jaime Azcarraga of Mexico into 2nd place right now.
A demolition job on the Canadian flag planks at the finish line here, but Jaime Azcarraga is happy with this young horse, Sortillo.
He's excited with this young horse. One of the early rails was 5A, and I think it was just because Jaime's a little nervous. The horse hasn't been in a big competition like this. Overrode the combination just a tad and had his first rail there.
Can't wipe the smile off his face, though, as he heads back to the hitching ring, and there'll be congratulations all around from this colorful Mexican contingent at this year's North American.
Feeling no pain in that hand as he gives his Sortillo a big pat and a gallant effort around the course.
In 1992, this entry won the North American Show Jumping Championship. Mark Laskin, also a former champion of the Chrysler Classic, and he's on course with his Irish horse, Sullivan.
I was down to visit Mark in his new home of Santa Fe, New Mexico, and he was driving his beautiful Chrysler LeBaron convertible with his 1992 North American Show Jumping Championship along the sides, very proud. And he would like nothing better, even though he's not in the hunt for the championship this year, he would like nothing better than to win this Chrysler Classic today. Good solid round going for him. He had some problems earlier this year with this horse, Sullivan, some confidence problems, but it seems like he's got those sorted out. Catching a rail there at jump number 6. Our best score is 8 faults. We have a tie for first place with 8 faults right now. Mark needs to hang on just that one rail to move into the lead.
As we mentioned earlier, don't expect a lot of clear performances in the Chrysler Classic, just a handful since it started in 1985. Mark sets Sullivan up for the massive Chrysler vertical and onto the water now.
Sullivan looking very content. There's a good look at the horse's bridle. This horse has a very smooth, soft bit in its mouth. It's a very sensitive horse. It's called a snaffle. And he's sporting the traditional bonnet, keeping the cotton batten in his ears so that he doesn't listen to the crowd and the bands around Spruce Meadows. Here's the Devil's Dyke.
The knowledgeable crowd here at Spruce Meadows, just about 30,000 strong today, giving Mark Laskin his encouragement. He carries 4 faults. As he approaches the final 3 verticals here, he may go to the top of our standings.
Making a nice approach into the double Liverpools. Rattles them, and 1 jump left. Here's our new leader, Mark Laskin on Sullivan.
Mark Laskin, who is a former champion of this event and won it without a clear round with his mare Voilati, finishes up with 4 faults and goes to the top of the standings. A great grin and that fist in the air for Mark Laskin.
A great ride. Mark, cool as a cucumber, allowing Sullivan to jump the jumps with his great talent. Giving a shake of the hand to his friend and coach, groundman, Jean-Yves.
And we'll be back with our continuing coverage of the 1993 Chrysler Classic right after these messages. Welcome back to Spruce Meadows on the final day of the 1993 North American Show Jumping Championships. Let's now check in with Pollyanna Hardwick Brown.
Only 4 faults in the Chrysler Classic. Great round. What happened on the White Oxer?
Well, I don't know. The white rails are really hard for a horse to focus on, as you would know, being a course designer. And he just didn't seem to, I got there where I wanted to be and everything, and he just didn't seem to really pay attention. Maybe he was a little distracted by the crowd. It's right sitting on the rail over there. It's very difficultly positioned. So.
Well, a great round.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I wasn't really expecting much. He hasn't been going that well, but he certainly rose to the occasion today.
4 faults leads the way, and a former champion and Lavendel 48 with Laura Balisky ready themselves to come into the international ring. They've been preparing all year for this event, Nancy.
Laura is coming off her 2nd major back surgery, but she says she has never felt better. She's fit. She's been doing her physio, working with weights. Lavendel has had a great program himself, getting fit, saving him for this one of his fortes, the Chrysler Classic.
This horse has been a mainstay of Canadian show jumping since the early 1980s. Incredible that he still continues to be a power to be reckoned with here in 1993. Laura Balisky sporting the colors of the Canadian equestrian team, and Lavendel 48 revving up his engine to head out into the Chrysler Classic. There's a look at George Tidball, the great cowboy.
Laura's dad looking on with great interest, concern, and hope that Laura can recapture the Pentastar Trophy and the Chrysler Classic title.
Laura Balisky, the third all-time money winner here at Spruce Meadows, having won nearly $500,000 in her illustrious career in this ring that spanned over the last 2 decades.
She's a 2-time Olympian with this horse. The LA Games and Seoul Olympics.
In 1990, Lavendel 48 carried Laura Balisky to victory in this event with 4 faults in a jump-off win over Rich Fellers. Today we've had 1 4-fault performance. Just 11 clear rounds in the 8-year history of this event. They are not very common, Nancy.
Well, and this is the furthest that anyone has gone at this point in time without a fence down. Mark Laskin got as far as jump number 6, but that's where he had his rail, and Laura and Lavendel 48 are still fault-free. George Tidball, Laura's dad, looking on, saying, come on. And Levi, as she affectionately calls Lavendel, giving her a little trouble going to the water, and Laura goes to the stick there. Oh, and a refusal at jump number 10, getting a little confused as to which fence she wanted to jump, either the wall part or the vertical. Now she's going to have to hustle to make up time. She's carrying 3 jumping faults.
Look at this veteran carrying 3 faults, and that can impact the standing so much. She's trying to get in under the time allowed, which is almost impossible if you have a stop on course. We'll keep our eye on the scoreboard. 150 seconds, the time allowed. Laura carries 3 faults down the bank.
She didn't waste a lot of time, though, circling around and jumping the fence, renegotiating jump number 10 again.
Come on, Levi!
Oh, and Levi gives her a rail there at the Devil's Dyke.
You could hear her encouraging her veteran partner to come on into the Devil's Dyke, carrying 7 faults as we approach the 135-second mark on our scoreboard.
And she's a little bit slow. She's got now 10 seconds to finish the last fence, and she's not going to have time faults. An outstanding performance by Laura Tidball Balisky and her great mount, Lavendel 48. That moves them into 2nd place behind Mark Laskin.
She put the grit on her teeth, and they got their act together. A tough break, the stop at fence number 10.
Galloping down after the water jump, Laura couldn't quite make up her mind. Levi got a little bit confused as to which part he was supposed to jump, this narrow wall or the white vertical. She's happy with that.
It was almost as though she lost a rein. She was pulling hard on the right-hand side and nothing on the left, and Lavendel 48 really didn't know what to do coming into obstacle number 10. Moving on down the order, we have yet to see a clear round. Hillary Mayfield of Santa Ana, California, aboard Chiba. This entry went clear in the first round of the Queen Elizabeth II Cup here at Spruce Meadows this week. We know they have the jump. Whether or not the endurance will be there in today's Chrysler Classic is another question.
I'm not sure that Chiba's ever seen anything like the bank or the Devil's Dyke. Hillary's married to the great cowboy Larry Mayfield from California. So they really enjoy the North American tournament here at Spruce Meadows. Larry gets a chance to go visit his buddies down at the Stampede, and Hillary gets a chance to show her stuff on the international course. And she's clear so far.
There's a look at Larry Mayfield getting rid of the Stetson today, replacing it with the ball cap for the Chrysler Classic as he looks on anxiously as his wife, who celebrated her 32nd birthday at this year's North American Championships, continues to master the course. However, we haven't yet reached the halfway point of the Chrysler Classic.
Well, she's as far as anyone's gone in this 93 Chrysler Classic without a fault. This horse seems very happy, very comfortable with this course. Oh, and he took a big leap over that little jump at the top. She's still clear. Oh, a very lucky rattle at the Devil's Dyke. She has 4 jumps left. And look at her husband, Larry. He's happy about that.
He just lifted a millstone off his neck as they approach the last 3 fences. Hillary looks like she might be running out of gas. Chiba seems very strong for the job.
One jump left.
Is history in the making? Can they clear the final planks?
Oh, and left a stride early. She's clear. The new leader, Hillary Mayfield of California, and Chiba.
The stars and stripes to the top of the leaderboard, and look at the smile on that young woman's face as Larry Mayfield gets ready to congratulate his wife, who aboard the great Chiba, the 12-year-old Holsteiner Gray, becomes the 12th clear round in the history of this event. Well done, Hillary Mayfield. And we will be back with more of the Chrysler Classic right after this. Welcome back to the International Tournament Ring at Spruce Meadows on the glorious final day of the 1993 Spruce Meadows North American. Ian Allison and Nancy Southern bringing you the drama and action of the Chrysler Classic. 1 clear to date, put in by Chiba and Hillary Mayfield as they sit alone at the top of the $100,000 Chrysler competition. And there we have Hillary.
There they are.
Waiting anxiously at the hitching ring. A number of horses with the ability to join her at the top though, Nancy, although clears are rare. She's learning the jump off right now. She knows full well the task that lies ahead.
Well, there's a lot resting on this young man's shoulders. At 24 years of age, Damian Gardner now enters the international course with his horse Hendricks, knowing that the Chrysler Classic, Chrysler car, $33,000, the North American Show Jumping Championships are all up to his performance in the next 2 minutes.
It's an interesting story. This horse, formerly ridden by the great Hap Hansen and the legendary Eddie Mackin. Jerry Kilgannon, the owner of this horse, looking on as Damian Gardner prepares to take the Chrysler Classic Challenge. Very intense look on the eyes of Jerry Kilgannon. As you can well imagine, Damian has a bit of pressure on him right now.
He knows he has to go clear if he wants to force Hillary Mayfield into a jump off. He knows he has to go pretty much clear if he wants to maintain his lead in the North American Show Jumping Championships. Take home the car, $33,000, and be awarded the Pentastar Trophy.
He also knows that he has Linda Southern-Heathcott and Hap Hansen waiting in the wings to chase him. And the drama will build as we continue down the starting grid in this elite field in the Chrysler Classic. So far, so good for the Hanoverian gelding Hendricks and Damian Gardner.
Well, Damian's letting Hendricks open up a bit around this corner to jump number 8. Flawless to this point. can it be Damian Gardner and Hendricks from Ireland who take home the North American Show Jumping Championship?
That's the great nature of this open championship. Riders from around the world come and contest it, and in order to succeed, they must succeed today on the final and crowning event of the championship. As Damian sets up for the Devil's Dyke.
A nice approach, very straight, good serpentine approach. Should be okay, and he is. And there's Jerry, his trainer, coach, and the owner of Hendricks, waiting to see what will happen as Damian heads down to the last 3 fences, and we could have a history-making clear round, forcing us into a clear round jump off. Sit up. Oh!
The heartbreak of defeat as the outgate Liverpools catch up with Hendricks, and with it 4 faults. Jerry Kilgannon thrilled with the performance of his horse and his rider. 142.96 seconds as Hilary Mayfield breathes a sigh of relief. And Hendricks finishes up with Damian Gardner on 4 faults today.
A great ride at the water jump, very, very close to the tape. However, it was not a fault, as we'll see here, just clearing the tape. Saw the edge of his hood at the top left-hand side of your screen. He had a quick, rapid round, and with that 4 faults and his time, he moves into second place ahead of Mark Laskin, but behind the clear round performance of Hilary Mayfield.
Hilary Mayfield sitting alone at the top of the leaderboard as Hendricks heads out. And the plot thickens as we bring on Canada's best shot perhaps this afternoon. Advantage Chrysler, Linda Southern-Heathcott, second place finishers in the Queen Elizabeth II Cup here at the North American Championships. Triple clear round in that wonderful Grand Prix competition. Now looking to keep the string alive and force a jump off.
I'd have to say Linda's maybe a little bit slow, doesn't have quite the rhythm she needs at this point in time. And Advantage Chrysler has had a bit of a reputation for getting a little strong with Linda.
They certainly have had their problems sorted out over the last 7 or 8 months as they've really come on as a top international entry. Plenty of scope on this horse, the jump ability. If they can keep him focused on his job, he certainly could challenge.
This horse jumps very easily, but you can see he's starting to get a little demanding of Linda, pulling her a little bit.
Interesting track to the vertical. Linda's the first that hasn't gone around the Dodge pickup, now coming on, setting up straight. Look at her father in the center of the ring as he watches Advantage Chrysler here in the Chrysler Classic approach the water.
Clear over the water, and now she's gonna have to really sit up and hold for this vertical. And she makes it. She does the wall portion of that jump number 10, so she's clear so far.
Crowd very silent here at Spruce Meadows, some 30,000 people as she makes her way to the top of the bank.
And Advantage Chrysler looking like he's giving Linda a little bit of a tough time as she heads into the Devil's Dyke now. Oh, and she's through the Devil's Dyke. 4 jumps left.
Tension throughout the 7 acres that make up the Spruce Meadows International Ring with 3 fences left to go. We saw Hendricks tease us this way earlier today.
We sure did.
Is it Advantage Chrysler's day here in the Chrysler Classic? What
this horse is going quite slow into the double Liverpool. Sit up, come on, 1 jump left.
Watch the timer, she's going to be tight on time.
And she's clear. Linda Southern-Heathcott is clear over the Chrysler Classic course with Advantage Chrysler.
Could we bring on a scriptwriter, please, as look to the center of the ring where parents Ron and Marg Southern, the senior executives of Chrysler.
A clear round, and what a day for Chrysler.
And what a day for this young Calgarian who has put in 22 years of effort to get to this stage of her career. She now has a jump off ahead of her, but oh my goodness, what a weekend she's having. Second place in the Queen Elizabeth II Cup.
Here's the Liverpools. Linda sat up, rode extremely well. Didn't get worried, didn't get flustered, didn't push her horse, just waited for it. An excellent ride.
As the drama continues to build at Spruce Meadows, we will return with more excitement from the Chrysler Classic right after this. Let's now check in with Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown.
Clear around. What was going through your mind as you came to that last fence?
Oh, he was so strong, and I was just leaning back and pulling as hard as I could and hoped that he jumped up, and he gave it a good bump, but I was lucky. He stayed pretty rideable for him, and I'm happy.
Any plans for the jump off?
I didn't even learn the jump, so I have to go learn it.
Well, I better let you get at it then.
Thanks.
Alain Vaillancourt aboard Balderdash with one of the fine young entries from the Oaks in San Juan Capistrano. This young horse is loaded with talent and certainly has a bright future today. Alain must be focused on a clear round.
The problem for this horse is that he's had about 8 months off. He hasn't competed for a long time due to a quarter crack in his hoof. Now that has grown out. His hoof is in good shape, but he hasn't had the opportunity to be competitive. So this horse is looking and wandering around this course. It's going to take a lot of concentration by Alain to maneuver Balderdash the entire Chrysler Classic track. And I'm not sure he's fit enough to handle it.
It's one thing to bring them back ring fit, it's another thing to bring them back derby fit, and this is the ultimate test of your jump ability and your fitness level. Alain Vaillancourt aboard Balderdash, so far so good as he rounds the south end of our international tournament ring here at Spruce Meadows and prepares for the long trip towards the bank.
Clear over the Chrysler Classic vertical. This horse has a beautiful stride and a beautiful way of jumping. He's so fluid and bouncy over the fences.
To the top of the bank, time for a view, and then down we go to the Devil's Dyke.
Had a good look at that hill, didn't he? Oh, and he catches a rail there.
First time we've seen that rail come down today, Nancy, and that is not expected from Balderdash as he heads into the Devil's Dyke now. I stand corrected.
And a refusal.
3 faults as the judges call for timeout at 1:18.23 in their running time, and with that incident going into the Devil's Dyke, 6 seconds will be added to the score of this young chestnut horse from the Oaks in San Juan Capistrano. This is Balderdash with a second attempt into the Devil's Dyke now.
Oh, and now I don't think that Balderdash is going to go. I think he'll be eliminated. Got a little bit scared with that ride. You saw the horse pause, almost stop at the top of the bank. He looked down, and it's been tough ever since. Alain doing a super job of getting him through the Devil's Dyke, but racking up the faults as he does it. Notice the great freckles on this horse's white blaze. And through the double Liverpools, you can see this horse has no problem jumping the jumps. But he has quite a few time faults and a few rails down and those 2 stops at the Devil's Dyke. But a great ride by Alain to get through.
A look at Spruce Meadows riding master Albert Cly with Linda Southern-Heathcott, one of his lifelong students, learning the jump off, something they prayed for today, and they put in a clear round as Hap Hansen looks to make it a trio at the top of the leaderboard with Fairway. His best performance ever in this competition, a 3rd place finish with this very same horse, and he is now on course.
I think Linda and Albert were discussing as to what their plan and strategy would be in warming up Advantage Chrysler for the jump off. They have the advantage of going behind Hillary, Mayfield, and Chiba. Fairway looking a little unsure in his footing as he's stumbled a couple of times on the landing side of jumps 3 and 4. Hap is just a great rider. He's very soft with the horses, but he's a very strong athlete, very experienced.
So far, so good for Fairway. Fairway's a 10-year-old New Zealand-bred thoroughbred. Moving on with Hap Hansen now as they approach the north end of the ring here at Spruce Meadows, home to the infamous Spruce Meadows Bank, followed by the Devil's Dyke.
And he's clear so far. Oh, made a big bid for that jump at the bottom of the bank. Now getting reorganized, setting up nicely for the Devil's Dyke. Rattling it, but he's out clear.
For so many years, the crowds at Spruce Meadows have been treated to this man's talent, and now he's looking to challenge the top of the board by putting in what would be a record-setting 3rd clear round in the Chrysler Classic.
One jump left. And he does it. Hap Hansen will join the ladies in the Chrysler Classic jump-off.
3 clears as we continue to make history here at Spruce Meadows, testament to how these riders have come together, focused their talents and their horses on the test at hand. Hillary Mayfield with Chiba, Linda Southern-Heathcott with Advantage Chrysler, and Hap Hansen with Fairway are loading up in the hitching ring as they will come back to contest this $100,000 competition, and we will return with the jump-off action from Spruce Meadows right after these commercial messages.
It's time for ooey gooey, melt in your mouth, lip smacking, soul affirming, lovely, special, smooth, delicious chocolates. Only from Purdy's Chocolatier.
Welcome back to Spruce Meadows for our continuing coverage of the drama of this 1993 Chrysler Classic Derby. 3 clear rounds, 3 returning to the jump-off. Nancy, what a scene set.
Hillary Mayfield of California will have to set the pace, as it were, being the first out in the jump-off. She'll be followed by Advantage Chrysler and Linda Southern-Heathcott. And then Hap Hansen of Encinitas, California, the veteran, the computer, the man that is a great athlete here at Spruce Meadows, will be the last on the course. And there's a look at Hillary's husband, Larry Mayfield, cowboy, up for the stampede and a chance to watch his wife in the Chrysler Classic.
The jump-off course covers 370 meters. In the case of a quality of faults, time will determine the final placings. And first up in the driver's seat on the 12-year-old Holsteiner gelding, Chiba, this is Hillary Mayfield, who celebrated her 32nd birthday this weekend at Spruce Meadows, and what a birthday present she could receive today.
It's a shortened course now. Jump number 1, sharp turn to jump number 4, and we'll have an intermediate time here at 5A, and then off to 8. We'll have the intermediate time.
The rails have been heightened as she soars over the Chrysler vertical. Now coming into this final stretch, the trio. Double Liverpools into the planks.
Oh, and she gets through the double Liverpools, down to the planks, and she's across the finish line in an efficient time, 44.47 seconds.
Nice trip around this course in the jump-off. Hillary Mayfield could do nothing better than that as the first in of our trio. Now the time to beat on a clear trip, 44.47.
The time was not that fast, but now the question is, can Linda Southern-Heathcott on Advantage Chrysler can she go without knocking a fence down?
Big pressure on this young lady from Calgary, Alberta. She's worked so hard to arrive at this point in her career, and now she looks to put in a clear performance aboard her Hanoverian gelding, making sure he's responding to the bridle, looking on her father, Spruce Meadows co-chairman Ron Southern. We could cut the tension with a knife in this stadium right now. About 30,000 people on hand today here at Spruce Meadows, and all of them wondering if she can rise to the occasion. And there's a nervous mother looking on as well. Marg Southern watching her daughter compete in the jump off here in the Chrysler Classic. The time to beat 44:47, but all the rails must be left in the cups.
Oh, and Linda knocks the first fence down. Just coming a little too slow to the first fence. Now she's going to have to really hustle here if she wants to try and move up in the standings. Hap Hansen has still got to go clean himself. That rail cost Linda about $10,000, not coming in first. The intermediate time, she's 3 seconds behind Hillary Mayfield, and she was a little too cautious going down to the first jump.
And when the rail dropped, I'm sure her stomach dropped a bit, knowing that it was not to be today, as Advantage Chrysler now has 8 faults in the jump off. But what a sterling performance as they finish up here in the Chrysler Classic, having put in one of the legendary clear rounds.
Well, it'll go down in the history books, as you say, Ian, one of the legendary history-making clear rounds in the Chrysler Classic. But 8 faults in the jump-off puts Linda right now into second place. And chances do not look good that she'll hang on to that second place.
Well, if there was anyone in the world that could challenge the top of the leaderboard, it's this cool customer from Encinitas, California, Hap Hansen. He's chasing the North American Show Jumping Championship, and right now he's chasing the Pentastar and the Chrysler Classic Championship. And there's a nervous couple also from California, Hillary and Larry Mayfield, as they look on, and they will be watching the scoreboard very closely. Hap Hansen up. He must go clear, and he must go fast to wrap up things in the Chrysler Classic.
Well, he's got the motor running as he locks in the first fence, zeroing in on the turn. A great turn there. He looks like he's a little bit faster than Hillary at this point in time. I'll tell you, if he could get this win, he's making a good approach to the Chrysler panel. He could, and he's clear there. He's a second behind Hillary, however.
He's got to move on. He's got to call on those thoroughbred wheels to get the job done here. 44-47.
And now he's got to go. Time to beat Hillary Mayfield, 44.47 seconds. He's got it.
Wow. Hap Hansen authors another incredible script here at Spruce Meadows by laying claim to the championship, and there's disappointment in Athletics Nancy with Hillary Mayfield.
Hap Hansen has secured the Chrysler Classic trophy, the $33,000 first place prize money. Hap Hansen will be the North American show jumping champion from Encinitas, California. What a day for the American riders. And we will be back with the presentations of the North American Show Jumping Championships and the Chrysler Pentastar Trophy right after these messages.
Ladies and gentlemen, on a glorious finale to the 1993 North American Championships, please welcome the newly crowned champion of the Chrysler Classic, Hap Hansen of Encinitas, California. A double clear performance, and he continues to write the legend that we have seen through so many years. Hap, there must have been butterflies coming into the ring.
Yeah, just a little bit. I knew Hillary was pretty slick and left all the jump up, so I had to take a chance.
You did a job, and your New Zealand-bred thoroughbred came through in the crunch for you fairway.
He sure did. He was great today.
Well, it was a great day here at Spruce Meadows, ladies and gentlemen, as we invited all of Canada and the United States to join us on television. And now to make the presentation on behalf of Chrysler, Mr. Robert Frank.
Well, Hap, congratulations on an outstanding ride. It couldn't be more exciting. The weather was a little threatening, and we got by that. And then to have a jump off was just incredible. And while we enjoyed seeing you win, Advantage Chrysler was right in there with you, and it was outstanding. On behalf of Chrysler Canada and all of our 600 dealers across the country, we'd like to provide you with the Chrysler Classic trophy.
As we will be engraving Hap Hansen's name on the wonderful Pentastar, a unique trophy in sport and rather heavy, I might add, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the 1993 Chrysler Classic, Hap Hansen of Encinitas, California. Hap just comments that he's worn out. He's still shaking from 2 trips around this course, but I'm sure we can get you to regain your strength, because to accompany the beautiful Pentastar, Mr. Hansen, another presentation.
Yes, Hap, to go along with the beautiful trophy, we've got $33,000 beautiful dollars for you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. That's wonderful.
You deserve it. It was outstanding ride.
The winners shared today $33,000, 3 clear rounds on just an absolutely incredible course. Hap, did you think you'd ever see that happen in this event?
I didn't. This is quite a long course, and it's big. The jumps are big and wide, and the horses are jumping great. I think the footing's real good, and the horses are jumping really well.
Well, it was testament to all of the athletes, and Mr. Frank joining us at Spruce Meadows for the first time. Your impressions of the Chrysler Classic?
It's absolutely incredible. The facility is fantastic. The Southern family has been with Chrysler for a long, long time, and I think it's a credit to them as a family, and it's a credit to the entire organization for the fine job that they've done building this facility, and Chrysler's very proud to be partners with the family.
Those are very kind words, and it's a credit to the athletes for their wonderful efforts today, and I would now invite our champion, Hap Hansen, to mount his partner fairway, and invite you, ladies and gentlemen, to please face the nation's flagpole at the south end of the International Tournament ring for the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner, honoring our champion in today's event, Hap Hansen.
A classic ending to the Chrysler Classic. Hap Hansen of Encinitas, California, taking home $33,000 and the Pentastar Trophy. He'll also be driving away in a Chrysler vehicle for the North American Show Jumping Championships. Linda Southern-Heathcott on Advantage Chrysler from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, came in 3rd, and 2nd was Hillary Mayfield, also of Encinitas, California. We hope you've enjoyed this presentation of the 1993 $100,000 Chrysler Classic Derby. On behalf of Ian Ellison and Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown, I'm Nancy Southern. Thank you for joining us.
We've all got some miles to make up. Miles to the job site, the campsite, and anything else we set our sights on. So let's roll up our sleeves, because we've got miles to make up. Now you can buy from home with the help of Ram Click and Drive. And during Ram Summer Clearance, you pay what we pay with Employee Pricing Plus and 0% financing for 84 months.
Integrity, caring, agility, collaboration. Every day, our people go to work delivering inspired solutions in structures and logistics, electricity, natural gas, retail energy, and ports and transportation to homes, businesses, and communities around the world. Find out more at atco.com.
We hope you're enjoying watching the North American at home today. The Spruce Meadows shop carries Horseware Ireland blankets. Horseware Ireland makes blankets for dogs, goats, and horses, from miniature right up to draft horse. Not only does Horseware Ireland carry blankets for every size, they also have a blanket for every season. Featuring our fly sheets, shown here we have the Rambo Protector. It's our most popular blanket, offering superior protection from both flies and the sunlight, made from a unique patent and durable self-repairing fabric. This rug offers 65% UV protection and is designed to last many seasons. The Amigo Bug Rug, shown here in blue and aqua, is an excellent value protection. It is soft, absorbent, and durable with strong sun reflection properties, providing 65% UV protection. Shown here is the Mio Fly Sheet with attached hood. It's made from a soft knit polyester. It's designed for a lot of movement. It's ultra breathable, has great fly protection at a price point anyone can afford. We carry 2 summer sheets. Shown here in the white and navy is the Rambo Optimo Summer Sheet. It has 90% UV coverage, great fly protection. It's particularly suitable for the broader horse and has the ultimate in shoulder freedom and movement due to the patent splint technology. The second sheet we carry is the Amigo Aussie All-Rounder. It protects your horse's coat from sun damage with 100% UV protection, keeps the flies away, and is water resistant. Shown here with the new disc front closure. At the Spruce Meadows shop, we carry Horseware Ireland rain sheets. They come in a number of different weights, sizes, fits, and colors. Shown here in berry is the Rhino Turnout. It's a very durable material that allows for a lot of movement. It has anti-static, antibacterial, and it has a detachable hood. One of our most popular turnouts is the Mio, shown here in black and teal. It has a great, affordable price point, but the quality isn't compromised. Our most popular rain sheet is the Amigo Bravo 12. This sheet comes in a number of different fills, so you can wear this blanket all year round. This one comes in navy. It has a removable neck. You can put a number of different linings inside of it to make it warmer. It's waterproof and breathable. Shown here in black and gold is the Rambo Supreme Turnout. It offers elite protection and the highest of technology for your horse. Right now, the Spruce Meadows shop is open by appointment. We're available for gateside pickup, feed pickup or delivery, and online 24/7. The Spruce Meadows shop is open Monday to Friday, 9 till 5.
This year, Spruce Meadows is proud to bring you our 45th anniversary edition of Name the Foal, presented by TELUS. We have some exciting updates for this year's contest, including 4 foals, a change in naming rules, an extended entry period, and a cash prize with unique keepsake. Follow the foals all summer through our official social media channels as they grow and develop, and we look forward to seeing the names. Visit namethefoal.sprucemeadows.com for more information and to submit your entries. Meet foal number 1. Born April 12, 2020, this little colt was the first Spruce Meadows foal of the year. Not one to shy away, he's figured out that people give the best neck scratches. While he was born dark in color, his dad, Spruce Meadows stallion Do-Re-Mi, is gray, and this little guy will likely take on that color as he gets older. Foal number 1's name will have to start with the letter W. Inspired by the original Spruce Meadows stallion, Wodka, or Young Wolfsburg as he was known at Spruce Meadows, this beautiful Hanoverian stallion helped to introduce the breed to Canada. He was part of the foundation of what is now the Spruce Meadows breeding program. Meet foal number 2. Born April 24th, 2020, the second foal of the year is also a colt and has the same sire as foal number 1. Unlike his sibling, he's a little more timid and prefers to stay closer to Mom. Mom is Spruce Meadows mare Skyline, who always produces great-looking foals. This is her 4th baby. Foal number 2's name will need to start with the letter A, inspired by Spruce Meadows riding master Albert Cly. Albert's passion for horses brought him to Canada as a young man. He never intended to settle down in Canada, but Spruce Meadows co-founder Ron Southern convinced him. Albert brought with him knowledge and skills that would be passed on to all of his students and help create what is now the Spruce Meadows Horse Program. He was responsible for the development of many national team horses and riders. Meet foal number 3, a real Mother's Day gift who was born on May 10th, 2020. She's the first filly out of all the foals this year and is easily recognizable with her big white blaze that mimics the markings of her father, Spruce Meadows stallion Spot Cash. Foal number 3 will need to have a name that starts with the letter S. Keeping with tradition of past years, her father is Spruce Meadows Hanoverian stallion Spot Cash, and we want her name to be inspired by Spruce Meadows and the Southern family. Spruce Meadows was the dream of the Southerns to bring an unlikely sport to an unlikely place, giving young Canadian riders a chance to successfully compete against the world's best. Since the inception of Spruce Meadows, Canadian riders have gone on to become some of the best in the world. Meet foal number 4. This year, Spruce Meadows welcomed a 4th foal to the family at the beginning of the Victoria Day long weekend on May 16th, 2020. She is a beautiful big girl with bright eyes and a sweet personality. Her father is Do Re Mi, and her mother is the lovely Kate H. Foal number 4 is a bonus entry for Name the Foal presented by TELUS. Her name will need to start with the letter M, inspired by Spruce Meadows co-founder Mark Southern. Mrs. Southern has had unmatched influence and passion shaping Spruce Meadows into what it is today. Her motto, "The coffee pot is always on," brings a warm feeling to Spruce Meadows, and guests always feel like family. Visit namethefoal.sprucemeadows.com for more information and to submit your entries.
It's great to see the foals of 2020 enjoying the Alberta sunshine this summer. They do miss the fans here at Spruce Meadows, but that hasn't prevented us from continuing on with Name the Foal with our great partners from TELUS. 2 colts and 2 fillies looking for names. Check out our social platforms. You have until August 28th to submit your suggestions. Today, on this final day of the Spruce Meadows North American at home, we're going to turn back the clock even further to the first Spruce Meadows Derby. It was a different time here at Spruce Meadows in the international ring. Spruce Meadows was not yet 10 years of age when Spruce Meadows riding master Albert Cly found himself in a showdown with his student, Linda Southern-Heathcott, in the Texaco Derby. He was riding the big chestnut Hanoverian named Sebastian.
Live from Spruce Meadows, the Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby. Hello everybody, I'm Mike Adams, and once again joined by Nancy Southern for another horse show here at Spruce Meadows. And this time around, it is the Texaco Invitational, and we're pleased to bring you the premier event of this show, the Texaco Jumping Derby. And it should be quite a class. And you know, for the past 9 years, the Texaco Canada people have sponsored in relative obscurity because of the stampede going on in town, the horse shows here at Spruce Meadows in July. But this time around, we're doing something about it, and we're bringing you, and very proud to bring you, the Jumping Derby. And this year, Nancy, it's more than just a junior show.
This year, Mike, we have some of the top Canadian riders, senior riders that is. Frank Salinger, Alan Brand, Albert Cly, Linda Southern are all competing in the Derby. And the Derby itself is a unique event in show jumping. It's a course where the horses and riders have to negotiate over very natural type obstacles, liver pools, banks, ditches, and it's very long, 23 elements in total that have to be negotiated. So the Stampede isn't the only place to see great horse action. You can come right here to Spruce Meadows during the Texaco Invitational now.
And we're set to bring you the Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby.
Just a Scoundrel is our next horse, Mike, and Karen LaCroix from Ardrossan, Alberta is the rider.
Very colorful, dappled gray horse. Just a Scoundrel, and let's hope the horse isn't a scoundrel. This is a long course, and we've seen riders previously have a lot of problems. For example, the Iron Duke and Craig Lee of Vernon, BC, had 28 jumping faults and a half a time fault. They've had to increase the time allowed on this course to 140 seconds from the previously announced 123, so it's probably going a little longer than Pamela Carruthers thought it would.
It certainly is, and you know, these younger riders are not used to really galloping their horses. And this horse, like Just a Scoundrel, is really a very young horse, and he's going to be very impressed with all these big jumps and all the crowd. And Karen's going to have to keep pressing him on in order to get around and not have any time faults. But look at him just tuck up those feet. And as he approaches each jump, his ears are forward. He's really alert, looking, and doesn't want to touch anything. He really tucks those legs up. He's got a classical jumping style. This is Karen LaCroix's first time competing in the international ring here at Spruce Meadows. And she's having a very nice round. Over the road jump again, the short side. And this horse, look at him, he's so keen and he's just having a great look at everything and jerking his wheels out of the way. Ooh. And I'm not sure if we had a fence down there or not. That was a big dry ditch where he really had to stretch.
We did have one down there, Nancy.
We did have one down, okay. So that's 4 faults so far for Just a Scoundrel. And now comes the Devil's Dyke. And she makes it out. This water jump coming up next, Mike, is very difficult. There's no takeoff. Oh, and he's put a foot in the water. So 8 faults so far. And now the horses are starting to get tired. They start pulling on the riders as they come around to the last 4 fences. Coming up the bank. And the last obstacles on this course are the double liver pools, a combination with turquoise and white rails and water underneath each jump. And Karen LaCroix from Ardrossan, Alberta on Just a Scoundrel lead the field right now with only 8 faults in the Texaco Jumping Derby.
Now we'll check the time for possible time count violations, but I think she was moving along quite well, and she'll likely just have the 8 faults.
Yes, that's right, Mike. Just the 8 faults in there. She's quite happy. Well, our next competitor, this is Esther Lou-Watt from Cremona, Alberta. And she's riding a horse called Step Aside. And you know, Mike, something very interesting about this horse. He had a bad leg injury 2 years ago. And he was at the vet clinic where they did a minor operation on his leg, taking a bone chip out. But when he was recovering from the anesthetic, he hurt himself recovering and thrashed around, and he's blind in one eye. So Esther has to be very careful that she comes straight to the jumps so that Step Aside can see each jump. And we've had 2 down so far for Step Aside. 3. You know, these riders don't have to be ashamed at all of, ooh, and there, Esther wasn't real straight and the horse couldn't get a look at the Liverpool, the water in front of that white fence. And now you'll notice that she's making a turn from the other direction.
He really wasn't sure about that water, but said, well, what the heck, let's go for it this time.
As I was saying, though, that the riders can't be too disappointed with 12, 16, even 20 faults in a derby can often give them a good placing.
A problem with the road jump, another refusal, that's 6 faults.
I think probably Step Aside is not going to finish the course. No, unfortunately, we've had 3 refusals for Step Aside and Esther Watt.
And so they will step aside for the next competitor.
Well, right now, leading the way is Karen LaCroix from Ardrossan, Alberta, who just rode Just a Scoundrel, the nice dapple gray horse that you like so well, Mike.
Beautiful horse, and a great crowd on hand here for the Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby. Nice to see all these folks down here when you know the big show is going on in town, the Stampede. And it's good that people will take time out from a busy 10 days to come down and enjoy show jumping at its best here at Spruce Meadows.
Well, this young lady is only 15 years old. Her name, Susan Anderson. And she's from Calgary. The horse is Subaru. And Subaru is the smallest horse in this whole competition. He only stands, about 4'9" at the top of his shoulders, which is just below being a pony. So it's a major feat for this little horse to be able to jump these big jumps. But he has a game attitude. The only thing that might be a problem with Susan and Subaru is that Subaru could get a little bit strong for Susan. But this little horse doesn't want to touch any fences.
Whoa.
Oh, and he certainly didn't want to touch that one. He just ran right by.
He's having a tough time getting Subaru stopped. He did not like that Liverpool.
No, and that's where, the younger riders really don't have the strength and a lot of times don't have the control on a big open galloping field like this Texaco Jumping Derby's on. Let's see if Susan can get, nope. I don't think that Susan Anderson is going to get Subaru over this big Liverpool.
Wouldn't she be better off like she's doing? Get him settled down, stop a little bit, then take the run at the jump again.
Right, but I think the problem is she wants to give him a bit of a spanking for refusing so that he knows he's doing wrong. But she can't get him stopped.
I think he's in control right now. There.
And Susan Anderson is going to voluntarily withdraw from the Texaco Jumping Derby competition. But just think of all the courage these riders have coming out here in a field like this with all these fans and just giving it their very best. Here's Barbrook. And Barbrook is from Farintosh, Alberta. The horse that she's on, Chad.
Chad's a thoroughbred gelding, an older horse, standing 16-2, so in comparison to the horse we just saw, a much bigger animal, and this is the first of our veteran riders coming out here now, and she's been in this international ring before.
She has, Mike, and we saw Barb actually win a competition at the Spruce Meadows National in June this year with this horse, Chad. A very interesting story about this rider is that Barb was in a terrible accident. She was in her camper trailer and the propane tank blew, and she was burned very badly. She has 3rd-degree burns all over her body. In fact, she's still riding with a body stocking, making sure that the skin grafts stay intact on her legs. So while she's been recovering over the last year and a half, she gave this horse to Mark Laskin to compete on the team in the indoor circuit in the fall last year, Toronto, New York, and Chad was very, very successful down there. So he's a super horse in that he's adaptable to many riders. Barb's having a very nice round with just 4 faults so far. Clears the ditch. Oh, and just rolled that fence after the ditch. So we've got 8 faults. And we're about halfway round the Texaco Derby course. Oh, Barb did that exceptionally well. And this horse, Chad, he has really just got his mind concentrating on the job to be done. Did she have a fault at the water there,
No,
Mike?
clear at the water. We've got 24 competitors in this jumping derby, and in the eventuality of a tie for first place in faults, we will have a jump off.
We would have a jump off. It's very rare that in a derby competition that you do have jump offs. In fact, Hickstead in England, which is the home of the first major international derby, has only recorded 24 clear rounds in its 25 years of being jumped on. A nice round for Barbara. And Chad. However, the 17-year-old Karen LaCroix on the young horse, Just a Scoundrel, is leading the way with only 8 jumping faults.
We haven't been mentioning the times of these riders because really it's not that important as long as they can stay under 140 seconds, and that is the time allowed for the course. Anything over 140 seconds and time faults are incurred. That happened before we came on the air to Craig Lee of Vernon on the Iron Duke. They went just a little over, incurring a half a fault, and they're well out of the running right now.
This rider is 17 years of age, and her horse is Lieutenant Kelly. This is Tanya Corney from Calgary. And Lieutenant Kelly is a very talented jumper. But Tanya has to be very, very precise with this horse. Otherwise, we'll see him. He likes to do what Subaru just did. He likes to run out to the side. So Tanya has to be very accurate. And that's one thing about these horses, you know, if they ever learn to do something wrong, or what the riders don't want, and they get away with it, it's very difficult to correct that bad habit. Well, we've got 12 faults so far for Tanya Corney and Lieutenant Kelly.
We've got a note here from our course designer, Pamela Carruthers, to advise that at the first Hickstead Derby, a similar competition to this, it was won with 12 faults, and already we have a rider around with 8 faults. Incredible.
Isn't that a credit to these young people and Texaco Canada for offering these young people a great chance? It's not the height of the fences that's the difficulty here. It's the length of the course, the endurance test that the horses and riders are tested over.
You mentioned the clear factor at Hickstead, and she just affirms it and confirms it. 24 clears in 25 years. That's amazing.
And that's got to be with over 600 horses competing over it, and the best in the world. And you can start to hear the horses really puffing as they start galloping up the bank. As a rider in the past, I certainly wouldn't want to have a horse that really pulls around this course because your arms would get so tired. A real nice round for Tanya Corney and Lieutenant Kelly.
Another 12-fault performance.
16.
16, I'm sorry, 16.
Yeah.
I never was very good at math.
And we'll be back for more jumping in the Texaco Jumping Derby right after this.
Welcome back to the Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby here at Spruce Meadows. A beautiful sunny day, a scattering of cloud overhead. The wind is blowing. It's been blowing here in Calgary for the past week or so, but it's not really affecting competition this afternoon. Our leader to this point is Karen LaCroix of Ardrossan, Alberta, 17-year-old. She has 8 faults. And on course right now from Calgary is April Clay, and the horse is Jack Be Nimble.
And Jack Be Nimble, look at the white on his hocks there, Mike. You see those white bandages on, or the marks on his hocks? Mm-hmm. He was in a terrible shipping accident about 2 years ago where he's a bad hauler. He's bad in the truck when they're going to the competitions. And he kicked through the floorboards of the truck and got dragged along the highway. And they had to take the horse out, and they've done skin grafts and repaired all the tendons, and this horse is back jumping. It's an amazing recovery that this horse has made. Something else that's unusual is that April is riding Jack Be Nimble in a hackamore. Now, all our fans that see the Cowboys out at the Calgary Stampede will recognize this bit, the device to control the horse, but not many riders ride without a bit. This is just a device that sits on the nose, the rider pulls, and it just hits the nose. So if a horse has a very sensitive mouth, this is what the riders will go to.
Yeah, now Western fans would probably call it a Bozell.
April's having not too bad a round.
It's interesting about the leg problems of that horse. The hair grows back in white. Is that white hair growing back in white?
Yeah, that's right. It's, well, the scar tissue, in fact, on all horses, when you have a bad scar and you get the hair to grow back in, oftentimes you don't, but it does come back white. But it's amazing how this horse has recovered. Oh.
They have a long approach to that plank fence. What would be the reason for a horse pulling out at the last second?
I think April actually pulled him out because I don't think she was real right, and she'd rather take the 3 faults and the time faults as opposed to another knockdown. So she just wanted to get regrouped, reorganized. And now April's going to have a lot of time faults here. Coming home to the last 2 fences in the double Liverpools. A nice round for April Clay and a great recovery. It's great to see a horse fight and come back and compete the way that this horse has, Jack Be Nimble. We had 11 jumping faults. And we do have some time faults, so we'll get back to you on the score. Jack Be Nimble.
Okay, again, the leader to this point in the Texaco Jumping Derby is Karen LaCroix of Ardrossan. On course right now from Saskatoon, Dayton Gorse Line. He's been doing very well here at the Texaco show this July, and the horse is the Tycoon.
Okay, on April Clay, we had 1 3/4 time faults. So we have a total of 12 3/4 faults.
Dayton really had to push the Tycoon through that Liverpool.
Well, Dayton has just started riding the Tycoon in open competition. And so the horse has not been out much. It's been, it hasn't had the experience that a lot of the horses that we're seeing have. So it's going to take every ounce of strength that Dayton has, and that's quite a bit, to get the Tycoon over some of these fences.
Dayton is one half of brother-sister act in show jumping, and we'll meet Judy Galellos just a little bit later on a horse called Oceanic.
Now you watch Dayton ride to this ditch. Really, he's got everything going. His hands, his legs. Okay, coming into the Devil's Dyke, I think we'll see some fine riding by Dayton Gorse Line. He's going to have to really coax the Tycoon. Now, a lot of horses like Just a Scoundrel are pretty, you know, they're game horses and they want to try, but the Tycoon does not have that temperament. He has to be asked or demanded to jump every time by his rider. And we did have a refusal at the Devil's Dyke. Okay, and Dayton's taking a second run at the Devil's Dyke. Nope. And Dayton's going to give the Tycoon a bit of a spanking. After 2 refusals, you can be pretty sure of saying that the horse is not going to jump this Devil's Dyke. Oh, Dayton did it. Look at him going to the whip. A hand gallop down to the finish for Dayton Gorse Line and the Tycoon. However, he's not finished yet.
Just about missed the water.
Oh, and he gallops right through the water. Jumps the planks very nicely. Dayton's quite a character, you know. He really is a good cowboy. And what I mean by that is that he is able to get any horse over anything. He may not have the best style, but he gets the job done. Let's see what happens in these double Liverpools here. One down. Well, a good round. You know, the crowd really appreciates the efforts of Dayton and the Tycoon.
No question about it. The judges will have to go to the calculators now to figure out the final tally for Dayton Gorse Lion and the Tycoon. The crowd naturally beginning to appreciate fence number 4 on this course, which is that Liverpool. It'll be interesting to watch our riders going over that one. We had problems earlier in the competition. They seem to be negotiating it pretty well now. And on course right now is Patie Braun from Calgary. This is her second look at the course, and the first look, of course, for Black Sock, the horse.
Patie came out. She was our third rider out in the competition today with Funny Face, and Funny Face was really bad, and he stopped at the first fence. And had Patie thrown off. But Black Sock is the better of her two horses right now. She's just gotten Funny Face and is trying to get used to him, but she's had Black Sock for a number of years and has been a top junior competitor with him. The reason that he's got his name, Mike, is that if you look at this horse, it's really strange. He has one black sock on his hind leg. Lots of times you see horses with white socks or stockings. But this horse, he has no white on his legs, just one little ankle that's all black hair. And he's a thoroughbred gelding that came out of the Alberta Thoroughbred Select Sales here, which were held, I believe this horse is now 8 years old. So he was purchased, so he's Alberta bred. That'll make our thoroughbred industry happy. Patie's having a very nice round so far.
Just the 12th false to this point.
Animal, this horse. Much finer than a lot of the European horses that we see now in show jumping competition. A nice round for Patie Braun and Black Sock. 16 jumping faults, I believe. And Just a Scoundrel, Karen LaCroix, is winning right now the Texaco Jumping Derby with 8 faults, followed by Barb Brook and Chad at 12 faults. Those are our top 2 horses right now. On course now, we have a scratch. Perdue with Albert Cly is not coming out, so this is Aquilio with Kim Morrison. And this is a neat horse. Just watch him bound off the ground. He's just got springs on his back legs. Kim is just 17 years of age. And Aquilio is a 7-year-old Hanoverian. Look at him leap into the air. I really like this horse. He's got a huge big gallop and just springs off the ground. He's been very difficult for Kim to learn to ride because his stride gets really short and bouncy. And so it makes the rider really work on the discipline of making the horse gallop forward.
How far away is Aquilio from competing in the big classes?
I think he's very close. This horse, and I was talking to Frank Salinger, who trains the horse, and Kim Morrison, and he felt that Aquilio is probably one of the top, a horse that can be one of the top international horses next year. Oh, and we had a rail there at the dry ditch. And here comes the testing Devil's Dyke. Oh, no problem for Aquilio. And did he jump wide over that water? He landed way out on the other side. Gosh, this is a real nice round. This horse really likes to buck too, Mike. He's a real fun horse, I think, to ride.
Just an excellent round.
He's so balanced. Oh, and there's 8 there.
8 faults total then for Aquilio and Kim Morrison, Calgary.
So we have a tie right now between Just a Scoundrel, Karen LaCroix, and Kim Morrison on Aquilio. So there's our 2 leaders, Aquilio and Just a Scoundrel, followed by Chad, Austin, and Jack Be Nimble.
And we'll be right back with more of the Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby after this.
Thank you so much for coming tonight. We're so excited that we have so many of you here, so many new and familiar faces.
Welcome here to this beautiful day, beautiful event, beautiful venue. You know, it's really exciting for us to do stuff like this, and you know, this is what we thrive to do.
We're really excited to share what our culinary team can do and showcase it to all of you.
Tonight I wanted to do some different things that we could find locally. Also, we wanted to do some things that we found that you could only get very seldomly during the year.
Great Events has many faces. This is really our passion, doing these fun events, custom menus, things like that.
I want to thank you guys again for coming, and I hope you guys enjoy the food and the drinks and just good company.
Let us bring our passion to your event.
And we're back now with Judy Galelis in the Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby. And Judy is riding a horse called Oceanic. And you know, Mike, we really don't know much about this horse. All of a sudden, this horse has come up out of nowhere and is jumping some of the biggest and toughest courses we've seen out here at Spruce Meadows. Judy is the sister of Dayton Gorsline, who we saw earlier riding the Tycoon, and she is some jockey. This course may be a little bit too spooky for Oceanic, but if anyone can get him over the jumps, Judy Galelis will. And look at the contraption that Judy's using for control, the bit that she has in there. She's just got a nice piece of nylon rope through a gag bit. And this bit is interesting because what it does is it puts pressure on the top of the horse's neck, or on the top of the horse's head when the rider pulls the reins, as well as adding pressure to the horse's mouth. It isn't a strong or severe bit, but it is very useful in a horse that tries to really pull. Oh, there's another fault. In the Devil's Dyke, if Oceanic spooked at the at the road jump, I was pretty sure he was going to spook at the Devil's Dyke.
He did. We're used to seeing Judy riding Sun Valley.
That's right, and that's her most famous horse that she's done the best on. Look at this girl ride. I mean, she was not going to let that big horse out of there. He had to go through or die.
The riding skill obviously runs in the family because we saw Dayton pushing his horse through that Devil's
That's
Dyke, just
right.
in much the same manner.
What a great opportunity for these riders and the young riders and the young horses to get the experience in this international ring. Well, I think we're going to have a few too many faults for Judy to change the leaderboard standings. Oh, and there's her third refusal. Just about finishing. Here's a look at the leaderboard in the Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby.
All right, our next rider on course in this Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby from Calgary, Alan Brand. And here's a big horse that should have no trouble on a course like this, and I imagine he's got all kinds of stamina. This is Gambrinus. He's standing all but 18 hands high. He's certainly a big animal.
And when you say 18 hands high, Mike, he's about 6 foot tall at the withers. That's just at his shoulder point. But you know, being such a big horse, you would think that he'd have no problem with this course. But this horse is a real chicken. He's like, you know, the elephants are scared of mice. He has the ability to jump the biggest jumps in the world, and yet Alan has to always keep instilling confidence into him. Look how hard he rides to that Liverpool. And this horse, he should know that he can do it, but a lot of times he just starts being afraid of leaving the ground, and sometimes you'll even see him put his legs down in the middle of jumps to try and get another takeoff point, to try and get back on the ground again.
I think with big animals, sometimes it's a lack of respect for the jumps they're going over. Like, boy, this isn't tough enough for me, and I could maybe step over this one.
Oh, that's too bad. He had a slip there, so that's 4 faults right now. But that's true in a lot of cases, Mike. With the big horses, they get clumsy and they hit the rails, and the horses find out that it doesn't hurt so much. But this horse really has a confidence problem. And we had a rail down at the ditch now too. So he can't afford to have any more faults, Gambrinus and Alan. If they want to remain in the top, along with Just a Scoundrel and Aquilio. This horse just eats up the ground too. His stride is huge. It's got to be around a 28, 30 foot stride, which is a lot like most of the race horses that we see. Only not moving quite as fast. Alan's having a nice round if he can just hang on to these, just having the 8 faults. He does, so we have now a tie for that first place standing right now. 8 faults for Alan Brand and Gambrinus.
A 3-way tie with the 8 faults, Just a Scoundrel, Aquilio, and Gambrinus. This is shaping up into quite a contest, this Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby. Our next rider now coming on course. The winds start to pick up a little. Great crowd on hand, as we've mentioned. And here's Susan Anderson, and this is Tocamore.
And Susan Anderson is the sister of the rider we didn't see at the beginning of the competition, Sandra Anderson. She's her twin, 15 years old. And the horse Tocamore is a homegrown horse.
So she's a twin. I thought I was seeing double when I saw her come out of there, but Susan Anderson and Tocamore.
We'll see her twin come out in another 3 horses. But this horse, you know, Tocamore, Mr. Salinger from St. George's Stables here in Calgary started importing the Hanoverian breed many years ago. And he brought over a stallion. And a lot of people didn't think the stallion was really all that good. However, he had a few mares. And one of the mares happened to be out in Saskatchewan. Well, a young rider from the Calgary area was out in Saskatchewan looking at some horses and found this one. And just in the recent past have we found out that he is a direct result of the Hanoverian breeding that Mr. Salinger started 20 years ago. Susan's having a nice round. She's only had 4 faults so far. Tocamore was started in the international competitions by Michelle Vaillancourt, who used to be the trainer and coach of the Anderson group. at Aspen Ridge. 8 faults now.
So the pressure's really on Susan Anderson and Tocamore. They've got to complete the rest of this course with just the 8 faults in order to achieve a tie with our 3 riders currently leading.
Ooh. You know, this horse, Mike, with Michelle Viancourt was unbeatable. And it's great to see that Susan can get up there and ride. But I think she's a little bit worried and very pensive about the whole thing that's happening out here in the Derby course. You watch her and compare her to some of the other riders we've seen, and she's actually being quite passive about where she wants to go. And Tocamore is really performing well. Just trotted to that big vertical. Oh dear, and here come the Liverpools. Susan's got to get some momentum, and she does. A nice round. Well, she's tied with her sister, I believe, with the 12 jumping faults. And she has tied, that's right, it's official now, she's tied with Sandra Anderson on Austin with 12 faults. Here's Debbie Simpson, and Debbie is riding Soft Touch, a little thoroughbred mare. Unfortunately, just had the first fence down. And this little mare is a hot little thing. Debbie's pet barn name for the mare is Panda. She doesn't look too much like a panda bear to me. She looks like she's a real handful. Ooh, and did she sail over that Liverpool? Coming up to the road jump now. Oh, and there's another 4 faults. We see all kinds of styles of riders and all types of horses out here in show jumping rings. And look how Debbie rides with such short reins on this mare. She just wants to keep her head right up in front of her and just keep bouncing her so that she can take off properly.
Again, we see those brown rails on the riders. Fence number 8 posing somewhat of a problem for the riders. On course, you're watching Debbie Simpson aboard Soft Touch.
Nicely through the Devil's Dyke. Now, oh, and steps on the water. And Debbie's really trying to get control of Soft Touch now. And there go the planks. When the horses start getting a little bit hot, as the thoroughbreds do tend to get, after jumping a lot of fences, their blood's really running, and they start going faster and faster. And so they start flattening out and not jumping up in the air properly. Ooh, and another one. So we had 5 fences come down for Debbie Simpson and Soft Touch for a total of 20 jumping faults. And not good enough to change the leaderboard, which is Just a Scoundrel, Aquilio and Gambrinus all in the lead with 8 faults, followed by Chad, Austin, and Tocamore with 12 faults apiece.
Our next rider on course right now is Linda Southern from Calgary. The horse is Hello SM. Again, the lead is shared with 8 faults. And if anybody can go in less than 8 faults in this particular field this afternoon, I'd have to say it's Linda Southern with Hello SM.
This really is this horse's type of course. He is a fighter. He doesn't like to touch the jumps. He doesn't have a lot of scope or power and ability to jump big jumps, but he really tries. And if Linda's at all on today, she is one of the few riders that could produce a clear round in this Texaco Jumping Derby. However, just with the start of things right now, I have to say that I think Linda might be being a little bit too cautious.
As this competition proceeds through the years, you'll find that clears will be few and far between. And of course, as we've mentioned, Hickstead is a perfect example. 24 clear rounds in their jumping derby in 25 years of competition.
Linda's doing very well. And you know, she is the hometown favorite of the fans here at Spruce Meadows. Hello, SM. SM denoting the Spruce Meadows. Now you watch Hello, he pays attention, but his ears are always going back and forth, and he's flickering around and just wondering what Linda's gonna ask him to do. And when he goes to jump the jumps, his ears are back, pinned back, he's mad, and he just leaps off the ground. Ooh, jumps the Texaco jump clear.
On course, you're watching Linda Southern aboard Hello SM, entry number 255.
And the fans are really cheering Linda on right now. Clears the water. She's got 5 fences left to jump. Coming up the bank to the last 4 fences is Hello SM and Linda Southern. Just 2 fences left now. Mike, if she knocks both of these down, she will tie with the leaders right now. But if she can jump these last 2 fences clear, she does it. A clear round. The first clear round in the Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby. And she a happy young lady. Look at her giving her horse a big pat. And look at the smile on her face.
And is that going to set the standard for our 6 remaining horse-rider combinations? Linda Southern and Hello SM have gone clear and taken over the lead in this Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby. And we'll be back with our final 6 competitors right after this. Welcome back to the Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby here at Spruce Meadows. And on course right now is Sandra Anderson from Calgary. Ebony Buzz is the horse, and she's got quite a task ahead of her. We just saw prior to the commercial break, Linda Southern of Spruce Meadows go clear on Hello SM.
Well, Sandra Anderson has already been out and around this course once, so it's a great advantage to this young lady, 15 years of age. And she had 12 faults with her first horse, Tocamore. Her twin we saw riding on Subaru. And Ebony Buzz was the winner of the Texaco Junior Grand Prix yesterday afternoon, the only horse to jump 3 clear rounds. So this could be Linda's competition. And you know, Linda and Hello have been jumping in the international divisions, and wouldn't that be something for this 15-year-old Sandra Anderson from Aspen Ridge here in Calgary and Ebony Buzz to join the clear rounds? Ebony Buzz is a very seasoned competitor, and he has been ridden in the past by a young lady named Cheryl Sagan. Ebony Buzz is a quarter horse for all our Stampede and Cowboy fans out watching us today, Mike. A little quarter horse out here jumping all these big jumps. Does the Devil's Dyke a little differently. Took 2 strides instead of the traditional 1 stride through the Devil's Dyke. Did she hit the water?
Nicely through the water.
Okay. So she's just got 5 fences left. Ooh, and she touches the planks. Ebony Buzz, the little quarter horse, the dark horse in this competition, could just turn in a very exceptional round. And if we did have 2 clear rounds, we would have to go to a jump off. 2 fences left.
Let's wait for the time on Ebony Buzz and Sandra Anderson.
We do have time faults on Ebony Buzz. We will have time faults on Ebony Buzz. 3 time faults for Ebony Buzz. However, that's good enough for second place right now. And that's the danger in this competition. They have to go for so long. But Sandra's plan of attack was very good because she rode with accuracy. She got all the jumps done. And she's in second place.
She sure is. The clear plus the 3 faults for Ebony Buzz. And here's a look now at Hounds Please. This is Jonathan Aslan from Winfield, BC. He's 5th to last to go here in the Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby.
And Hounds Please is a little Irish horse, much the same as Hello. And you know, this horse has much the same temperament as Hello, only he doesn't have quite the same amount of experience. Oh, and there's the road jump causing another refusal. And here's our leaderboard. In the lead is Hello SM with Linda Southern a clear round, Ebony Buzz with just 3 faults, and then Just a Scoundrel, Aquilio, and Gambrinus, all tied with 8 faults apiece. Jonathan Aslan made it through the road jump, but incurred a knockdown there. So we have 7 faults so far. And now Jonathan is really having to move along here because he doesn't want to get a lot of time faults. If he just could hang on to 7 faults, oh, but he doesn't. He knocks that fence down. But he could have taken over 3rd place. And another knockdown for Hounds Please, Jonathan Aslan. Jonathan has taken on the job of coaching a lot of young riders out in the BC area, and we've sure noticed the improvement in the athletes coming from that area now in show jumping. Jonathan now coming into the double Liverpools and finishes with a very respectable round.
Number 85,
and we'll have the faults on Hounds Please in just a moment. 15 jumping faults for Hounds Please and Jonathan Aslan. So not good enough to change the leaderboard.
Here's another look at Kim Morrison. She'd like to change that leaderboard. The horse is Jericho Hill. Of course, our leader is still Linda Southern on Hello SM with a clear performance.
And Kim Morrison, as we've seen on our scoreboard, is sitting right now tied for 3rd place on her horse Aquilio with just 8 faults. And this is Jericho Hill. Now, Kim is used to riding Jericho Hill. Aquilio is a new horse for Kim. And she may just be able to squeeze a better round out of Jericho Hill. This horse has to be managed very, very carefully. There's another look at the way our standings are today in the Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby. And Kim and Jericho Hill have had no faults so far. But as I was saying, Mike, this horse has to be managed very carefully. He has a bit of a problem keeping up his front legs. He has a tendon problem. And so Kim can't afford to show him in many competitions, but she's always there and a very strong competitor in the ones that really count. Oh, and there's 4 faults in that Devil's Dyke. But let's see if she can jump the rest of the way clear. If she can jump the last 5 fences with no faults, Kim Morrison will take over 3rd place, all by herself. Notice all the bandages on this horse's legs. She really wants to have a lot of protection on him because he's a very valuable and successful animal for her. Oof. And we have just a four-fall round.
For Kim Morrison at Jericho Hill, and as Nancy mentioned, Kim Morrison takes over third place now with those 4 falls. A great round. The clear still leads it. Ebony Buzz and Anderson is with 4 falls, and Jericho Hill and Morrison with 4. Anderson had 3 falls, Morrison with 4. This is going to set up a really interesting situation right now with 3 riders left in this jumping derby, the Texaco Invitational. Albert Cly is out on Sebastian. Now his prize student is Linda Southern, of course, and she stands in the lead with a clear performance.
And Albert is the riding master here at Spruce Meadows, and as you said, Mike, Linda is his prize student. However, you know, Albert is he doesn't care if Linda is his student or not. He's gonna do his best to try and beat everyone in this field of top jumpers in the Texaco Derby. And Sebastian, you know, Sebastian is really a strange animal. Everything he does in his efforts to jump is really wrong. He's like I don't know, he's like a skinny fullback or something. You know, he doesn't fit the picture. He doesn't fit his job. He's got a long neck and he kind of uses it like a giraffe. And he just sort of leaps off the ground. His front legs hang off. He's got big ears that sort of seem like they act as wings for him, because every time he jumps a jump, he's way up in the air over them. But if you were going to pick a classical jumper, this is not the one you would pick. But Albert does a great job. He just leaves the horse alone. He knows he can't change the style of the horse, so he just leaves it up to the horse to do the jumping. All Albert has to do is get Sebastian in the right range of takeoff. Look at this horse's neck. And he just sort of stag leaps over everything. But Albert's having a clear round so far, Mike. Here I am chatting on about how you wouldn't pick this one to be a top open jumper, and here he is having a clear round. 3 fences left to go. And do you think it would be possible to have a jump off between the riding master at Spruce Meadows and Linda Southern?
Let's hope. It would be incredible.
And there it is. Great. Oh, that's great. And there's Mr. Southern, Ron Southern. He's very happy about that. A great clear, and Albert's giving Sebastian a big pat. Well, that really changes things. We've got a jump off. Hello, SM and Sebastian both going clear.
And when we return, we'll have the exciting jump off to decide the winner of the Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby here at Spruce Meadows. Welcome back to the Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby, and this is what show jumping is all about. We're into a jump off. Time is all important. Linda Southern on Hello SM, Albert Cly on Sebastian, and Linda is the first rider back with Hello SM. And I was going to make a little wager on the side here, Nancy. I'm going to put it on Albert.
Well, Mike, I have to disagree with you. Hello SM is one of the fastest and fightingest little horses, as I said earlier. He's really careful. He doesn't like to touch the jumps, and he can go very fast.
This jump-off course is a reduced course, of course, from the first one we saw in the Jumping Derby. Jumps 1, 2, 3A and B, 12, 15, and 16AB. The bank has been taken out.
Oh, and she knocks those double oxers, but she doesn't have a rail, and she's being very quick so far. Oof! And Linda made a terrible error on that fence, but Hello got her out of it, and that's what I mean by he's just a little jumping machine. Good turn, and look at the time, 34 seconds coming into the Liverpools. And she's clear. And the total time? 40.6 seconds for Linda Southern and Hello SM. And that, Mike, has got to be awfully hard to beat, especially with an animal like Sebastian coming up next.
Especially the way she took that pesky plank fence. It was an incredible recovery by the horse.
The horse was incredible on that jump.
She'd be pretty happy with it.
She's having a hard time getting him slowed down now to leave. Well, here comes the riding master of Spruce Meadows. This is Albert Clyde, and the horse, Sebastian.
And the job is clear cut. He definitely has to go clear. He wants to win this jumping derby, this initial jumping derby here at Spruce Meadows, the Texaco Invitational. And he also has to go faster than 40.6.
And we'll watch the Spruce Meadows timer in the corner of our screen to see if Albert can catch the time. And Albert is really, he's hustling. This horse won't look like he's going quite as fast as Hello and Linda because he's got a longer stride. But Albert is really turning on the speed. Come on now, look at this. He's got 40.6 seconds, and that's the time he has to beat. Coming into the third last fence. A good turn, really on the angle. 32 seconds, they're just about even. It's going to be a dead close heat. Come on, Albert. And they're at 39.6 seconds, a whole second faster than Linda and Hello SM. Well, Mike, you were right again.
Well, not right again, but right this time. A good round. That's the kind of ride I like to see Albert Clyde put in. For so many years, we've seen Albert being conservative and maybe tutoring and schooling horses around some of these courses, but I like to see him when he really pushes and goes all out. And he did it, beat the student. I think that's the way it should be. The teacher should be the boss.
The Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby. What an exciting day here at Spruce Meadows. A great competition. And we see the parade of competitors and our winners, Albert Clyde from Spruce Meadows on the horse Sebastian, led by the City of Calgary Mounted Police. And that's Sebastian. I called him as being a kind of a strange horse to do the job, but he certainly did it. And there's Linda Southern and Hello. She was in second place. And Sandra Anderson on Ebony Buzz. Kim Morrison on Jericho Hill was in fourth place, just having 4 faults. A beautiful look at beautiful Spruce Meadows International course. Albert Clyde trying to contain the happiness he feels, taking off his hat in salute to Texaco Canada. Norm and Betty Taylor are making the presentation of the first place ribbon and trophy to Sebastian and Albert Clyde. What a great day for Spruce Meadows.
Albert, that's the way I like to see you out there riding, pushing and giving it all you've got. Sebastian, also a great job in that jump off.
Yeah, Linda was clean and really fast, and there was only one way for me to go try it. And I tried and I got lucky, and I think I was a little faster.
Might have been a little embarrassing if the student beat the teacher, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would have a hard time with all my other students.
Are you going to renegotiate your contract with Ron now?
I think if I get horses to ride like this, I should be pretty happy.
Albert, congratulations, and congratulations to Sebastian. A great job, along with Linda Southern, in this Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby.
It's been a great day here at the Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby. And on behalf of everyone here at Spruce Meadows, Texaco Canada, Mike Adams, this is Nancy Southern bidding you a very pleasant good day and good afternoon.
Integrity, caring, agility, collaboration. Every day, our people go to work delivering inspired solutions in structures and logistics, electricity, natural gas, retail energy, and ports and transportation to homes, businesses, and communities around the world. Find out more at atco.com.
It's time for ooey gooey, melt in your mouth, lip smacking, soul affirming, lovely, special, smooth, delicious chocolates. Only from Patie's Chocolatier.